everyone, and welcome to our first episode of the year 2026. We are so excited to be here with you today. I'm Brittany New, and this is, sorry, I'm trying to use my married name now, Brittany Van Reese. I keep forgetting. And I haven't even legally changed it yet, but I'm getting toward that. Brittany Van Rees, and I'm here with Dr. Dave Asomaning, who is an executive coach and focuses on miracle mindsets. So if you're new here, welcome. We're so glad to have you. And if you're back, then we're going to kind of keep the same format. Today, Dave's going to tell us remind us of a special story that some of you might have heard if you've been listening in the past, a miracle about his heart. And it's a great story, really inspiring. And we're also going to get into how miracle mindset can be applied to some of the headlines as we navigate real world situations in the world, in politics, in our organizations and businesses. And it's going to be a great conversation today. So welcome everyone, and it's good to be with you here again today, Dave.
Thank you, Brittany. Happy New Year to you and to our listeners.
Yeah.
On your last name, somebody asked me by text. They were like, her married name flashed so fast. Can you tell me what it is?" And I went and looked at the audio, the previous place where you had
Mhm.
said it very clearly, just to make sure I didn't flub it. And
Mm.
I sent it to them, and it's a nice transition. It's just beautiful, like merging of identities, you and your husband, and
Mhm.
uh, your soon to arrive baby in the next
Yes.
several weeks, maybe. Just
Mhm.
I love the whole thing. So thanks for your
Thank you.
your humorous introduction to that again. That's excellent. And yeah, thank you for everything you've done, Brittany, on this journey. We'll talk a lot more about the miracle of all that, which is a mainstay of these shows, I like to say. And yeah, so thank you for the intro as well. I'm a coach, an executive coach. I think of more specifically by way of having been a psychoanalytic pastoral psychotherapist. I did that anxiety, depression, had an office at 35th and Lexington in Murray Hill in New York, 7 blocks from Grand Central. Was there for about 10 years before I moved to Florida. Everything is remote pretty much now, although I do visit clients at their locations on request. Could be a few days, a week, things like that. So yeah, miracle mindset. I define miracle as a solution to a problem that seems impossible to solve, right? And in just a moment, I'll touch on the heart miracle, which definitely seemed like a problem that I was going to be able to solve at the time. Um, but yeah, the main element of this work is to help clients with their mindsets, right? So as we've talked about many times now, for very accomplished, um, high performing leaders who are also very wealthy, 20 million, 40 million, 100 million. Uh, the highest I've worked with so far has been 250 million in net worth, but I'm very keen to work with billionaires, as I'm always saying. It's part of my own sort of strategic plan and that I put into the miracle mindset. The the thrust for a lot of very accomplished people that I'm experienced with in this coaching work is how to relax after being driven for 10, 15, 20, 30 years to get to the mountaintop. It's like all that stuff. It's just how do you unwind it without losing your mojo for success, right? So whether fear was driving people or just ambition or ego or whatever it was, I mean, it's understandable that people would have a hard time laying that down. So it's my privilege and honor to be able to work with people who, when it's the right fit, trust me to introduce miracle mindset, by which a lot of it is about what we're entitled to by virtue of our birthright in God or higher power. And so and almost all of these calls are like to say about the same thing, how to tap into this eternally grace-filled birthright that we have. So we'll talk about that more in just a moment. Um, One more thing, and then I'll see if you have any follow-ups, Brittany, and then we'll keep going forward. So the I'm glad that we've managed to introduce different stories about the origin of this process, right? And so sometimes I'll talk about the coaching part of it, as I did last month, where I talked about several experiences of coaching when I was a little kid that came into my life because of my dad. He was like, "Oh, you're not good at math. I'll bring your math teacher in to coach you." Or my clarinet teacher, when I was 10 years old, did a concert with him. These are all coaching experiences. Very interesting when as I reflect on it. Anyway, there's many more, but that's what I did last time. Sometimes I'll focus on the wealth aspect and how I got um, evolved into that. Today, I'm going to focus more on the miracle part. And I'm going to refer, as you mentioned earlier, Brittany, to a heart miracle that happened for me in 2014. So, right around this time, early in the year, um, I was beginning to suffer constant panic attacks. I couldn't eat. I couldn't sleep. I was having difficulty breathing. My feet were getting swollen. I was just, I mean, I thought it was all like just the release of pent up trauma and toxicity. And that's what I thought about it. In any case, it was just getting worse and worse by the day. And after 2 weeks of this, I went to an emergency clinic and they examined me for about 2 hours. This probe, that test, this, that, and that. And then after 2 hours, the doctor came and said, "I'm really sorry to have to tell you this, but you're in congestive heart failure." I was like, "What? Congestive heart failure?" That's the furthest thing from my mind. He said, "You're in a very dangerous space and you could die. I'm going to basically," he didn't say it this way, but this is, "I'm going to kidnap you and send you to the main hospital ER." And I said, "Well, my car's in the parking lot. I got to go. Let me go home." And he said, "Absolutely not. Absolutely not. You're not going anywhere. That car will be there. You can call people. You're in such a dangerous place. And I'm concerned for you about sudden death. That's what I'm really concerned about. So you're going straight to the hospital." I was in an ambulance for the first time, the sirens, the this, the that. Anyway, long story short, I've documented this other places. And to your point, Brittany, if people know this story, I don't want to bore people, but long story short, I was in the hospital for 3 weeks while they tried to stabilize my overactive heart, which is what it was. It was in panic mode and it was overbeating. And then you get clots, and then the clots can kill you. And so there's lots of blood thinners and things like that. So when I was a bit stable, uh, they sent me home. They said, "We need the bed and we need you to get more stable about some other things that are happening to you. So you go home. Now, if you exert yourself, you will die." That's how they discharged me. They were like, "If you exert yourself, you live in a 2-story building, you need to bring your whole life downstairs. You cannot climb those stairs. If you try to climb those stairs, you will die." I mean, I was like, what a way to discharge you. I'm like, okay. So anyway, a month after that discharge, I was supposed to do a follow-up checkup. And they were basically teeing me up for open heart surgery. And when I went for the follow-up, the technician said to me, I love telling this part of it a lot. The technician said to me, "If you like to drink beer, I would go out and drink beer tonight." And I was like, "What do you mean?" And she said that, "Well, beer is like you celebrate." I said, "Well, I don't drink. I haven't had anything to drink for over 10 years." And she was like, "Well, I'm not supposed to tell you this, but the thing I was supposed to find here that's screwing up your heart, there's nothing there. You're like, you're a free man. Whatever it is that was there is not there anymore. It's all gone." So I went and saw each of my 4 heart specialists, and with one exception, which I'm not necessary to get into right now, they all said, "Well, good luck, fare you well. It's everything is canceled. There's no surgery anymore." And the one exception was somebody who said, "Well, maybe this is not a valve problem like we thought. Maybe it's an electrical problem." And I said, "Okay, I'll think on that. I'll sit with that for a little bit, but I don't want to." I don't want to re-enter any type of treatment right now. I'm just going to celebrate the fact that what was there is no longer there. Basically, you all are telling me that everything, surgery, everything is canceled. So, So yeah, so no surgery. I didn't die. No, I'm not on medication. This is 10 years later, 11 years later. I can exercise. I don't have panic attacks. It's just normal, And so, um, I really went through a trial in the hospital to understand what was happening to me and why, as somebody at that point, up to that point, who had been doing A Course in Miracles for 20 years, couldn't resolve this. I was like, it felt like I was a total failure with everything I learned and everything I was teaching because I was wrestling with death. I mean, and I was beginning to resign myself to the fact that my life could be over. And in any case, spirit, God, higher power, however you want to characterize it, guided me, whispered to me, showed me how to get out of the situation. I'll tell you, and not to be coy about it, I write about it. It's a lot of different places, but there were two basic steps I was given. One is if you take 100% responsibility for the fact that this situation you're in is of your doing, not blame, but responsibility, not attack, not, but just own that you somehow conspired to make this happen to you. Number two, if you're willing to completely let it go and have no pride in ownership of this movie, if you do those two things, it means you're going to get out of the way and I can put a better movie, a better DVD into the DVD player. So I have written about this then, these steps. It's part of the method and all of this. So in terms of miracle mindset, I try to share it with as many people as it seems relevant to share it with. So that's it. That's the story for today, about this coaching process, miracle mindset and all. Let me be quiet, see if there's anything you want to say or comment on. You don't have to, as always. It's just to let it breathe a little bit, and then we'll go to the other things for today.
Yeah, wow. I've heard bits of that story before and in the general gist of it that you were miraculously healed and every time you tell it there's a new layer to it. So all these little things about not going up the stairs and having to leave your car there that just adds to the moments that you were having all of these experiences and that must have been such a whirlwind of emotions. Yeah, that's just and then the relief that you must have heard when that when that scan came back with nothing on it. Like that's just incredible. It's really inspiring and obviously like you said the step 2 was not to necessarily take responsibility for that, but still the fact that it happened is inspiring and that is a testament to God, right? Mhm.
Totally,
Mhm.
totally. It's like everything you just said is completely tracking it perfectly. I was, like when you're faced with a death sentence, when it's the last thing on your mind, and you're like, wow, okay, I haven't done anything really with my life and my purpose and my destiny. And, I don't feel like I've really accomplished what I'm supposed to accomplish. And I'm already checking out. Like, that's crazy, ridiculous. And I'm talking about the miraculous all the time. Where's the miracle? So I mean, it was just a bunch of different things to your point, and the way they bundle you along, and you're like, wait, my car and this and that. It was like, yeah, no, there's no time for that. So thank you for that. Yeah, and again, that's God's grace, God's love, God's power. It caused me to double down on that simple connection to this good source that can fix anything for us. And the question always comes up, well, how about the people it doesn't happen for? And there's lots of things we can say about that, at the right time, the right way. So thank you for your thoughtful response to that. So the other thing I want to highlight, I mean, there's so many different things that we've got these modules now. This is a very well developed system, thanks to your help. We've evolved it over time. There are many parts we can unplug or plug in. The part I want to get to is our journey, the miracle journey between us, which I always feel a good goosebump kind of tingle when I give thanks for it because it's another miracle, right? It's like I always say, yeah, I didn't know what I was doing aesthetically with my brand, really. All I knew was to farm out the logo part. So I had logos that I liked for the different parts. But when when the first thing I needed from you and I asked you for was just, could you beautify my worksheets? Because I mean, even I could tell that they were just not, you know. I mean, with the evolving client base and all of this, I was like, and you would just, yeah, okay, I got it. You understood it, and the things you were returning to me were just amazing. They were so beautiful. They made me proud of my brand. You were bringing my brand to life. Um, so that was the beginning, and then we went to modules for my online course, and even with those two, it was just me. Recording my voice and teaching the different what I had organized very loosely as my modules. And I mean, again, you just structured everything with outros and intros, and it just made the course come to life in a whole new way for me, which I was grateful for. So that was the second major sort of miracle blessing of our journey together. That also, I always say this, it gave me a sense of a completed course that would then became, with some modifications and some editing over time, the book Nightmares to Miracles. um, and then with a coaching practice, with an online course, and with a book, it seemed like to create some kind of an opportunity to talk about all of this more would make sense. And that's where the podcasting came in. And then I checked in with you about that, and you were like, yeah, sure. I mean, we can do that. I can help you with that. And so that's what's brought us to our now, I think, our sixth year in the podcast, just the podcasting. We were sort of working on things for maybe 2 or 3 years before that. So we're almost at a decade, almost, not to exaggerate or over embellish things. But so then the last part of this that I want our audience to understand is that, I mean, with my gross incompetence with all of this stuff, you're the savior, so you're like, okay, so the part of that is that you will take this raw footage from our YouTube uh, call, and then you'll trim it. You'll have an intro and outro. You'll do an amazing thing that you do and turn it into a written blog. Then you'll do another amazing thing that you do, which is turn it into just the audio podcast. And in our show notes, there are links now to all of these different things if you have preferences around them. But um, and you do all of that, and then I have somebody who will post to the 10 different social media, 2 LinkedIn's, an Instagram, 3 Twitters, 3 Facebooks, things like that. But anyway, so I'm really so super grateful, and I rehearse this miracle story with you all the time, and it feels to me as though it never gets tired or never gets stale. So back to you for anything you want to say about your work and where people can find you. And yeah.
Thank you, Dave, for that amazing testimonial. I love this part of the show. I actually showed it to my sister-in-law yesterday to show
um,
her what we do on our podcast, and I skipped to the part where you start talking about how awesome I am.
Anytime. That's
Um,
perfect. That's great. I love that.
yeah, it's great. Thank you so much for your appreciation for my work. And if anyone else is curious about what I do, I have a website which is still under my maiden name as well as my YouTube channel, BrittanyNew.com, and my YouTube channel is also Brittany New. And there I've got almost 17,000 subscribers and growing. And I do some tutorials on how people can do things with their own media if they want to learn. And on my website, you can see more of how to contact me if you'd like to work together. So thank you, Dave, for that. And it's been a miracle for me as well. Like just having this every single month, this opportunity to talk to Dr. Dave about this very niche type of mindset work that I don't really know anyone else who specializes in miracle mindsets. And so what an honor that I get to have this conversation every month and be the co-thought leader on the subject. Obviously, I'm not the leader here, but I get to participate in the conversation, which is really interesting, and ask my questions directly to someone who's been studying this way longer than I have. So, yeah, this is awesome, and it's definitely like the lessons that we go over on this show. I return to them and think about them all the time. So it's been a really personally and professionally enriching experience. So thank you, Dave.
You're very welcome, Brittany. I'm so glad. And thank you for, the shared thought leadership again. Like, God brought us together, higher power, the universe brought us together in such a beautiful way where very often you don't even know what you need. And part of the blessing of telling the story of the many different gifts that have unfolded to me from you and your talent is that I didn't even know I needed all these things. Right. But again, sort of cautiously not wanting to impose or be overly brash about things. I'll check with you. Hey, Brittany, can we do this next? Can we do this next? And it's all in your skill set. It's all in your wheelhouse. And then you're like, yeah, okay. And then it's like, it just gives me confidence. Again, the whole thing is just so amazingly miraculous. And again, the reason that I like repeating this, as we say it often on this call, is that on this show, is that the more we recognize with gratitude what's being done for us, the more it snowballs into more things, right? So that the whole process of our lives becomes one snowballing of one miracle to the next based on the ability to see it and recognize each. When I say see it, I mean each miracle that happens. So fantastic. Also, I love that you're saying that you were able to share this segment with your sister-in-law. I don't want to probe too much about how she felt or how she reacted to it, but I'm curious without wanting to impose anything, but um, that just sounds like a beautiful, powerful way of using our. There's a message in every part of the show, right? So again, we're not trying to beat anybody over the head with it, but it's just interesting to just to muse about how somebody might see all of that, so yeah. Well, thank you for sharing. I don't know if you have anything you want to say. I'm not trying to pull anything
Yeah.
out, but yeah.
Yeah, sure. I mean, mostly the conversation was just like, so what do you really do for work, Brittany?
Right, right.
Because a lot of people in my life, they know me as just well, in this case, the wife of her
Yes,
brother.
yes, yeah,
So yeah, I just said, yeah, I do videos, and tomorrow or this week I've got to do two podcasts, and yeah, so not to
very
destroy
nice.
the magic, but yeah, we've got some stuff, extra stuff to compensate for my pregnancy and my birth
Right,
coming
right.
soon. So yeah, I was explaining to her like how we've been going at this for almost
Gotcha.
6 years or more than 6 years, and so she's really into mindset work as well, and she's
Mm,
into positive thinking and
yeah,
affirmations and stuff. So I definitely think she would appreciate watching the full episode as well. But we were having dinner, so it was just a quick a quick little
gotcha.
show and tell.
Yes,
But yeah, and then actually what she said after one of her takeaways was, "Wow, we should do a podcast together."
there you go.
That was one of
There-
her takeaways. So I said, what would we talk about?" And yeah, just life in the Netherlands, maybe.
Beautiful,
Um,
beautiful.
yeah,
That's
she was
amazing.
inspired by your idea here to do this
Yeah,
collaboration. Hmm.
beautiful. Thank you for sharing that. Yeah,
Hmm.
again, I love it. I love that, and I love that how you used it as a resource, right? Because
Hmm.
yeah, I think we're a whole nother thing, we can talk about another time too, maybe. But yeah, I find myself having lots of material to
Hmm.
share snippets of here and
Hmm.
there from
Hmm.
what we've done, right? So I will send blog posts to people if they're relevant, or the audio part of it, or even just do a in-person show and tell, hey, look, here's a little segment of something. I want guys to have a sense of Brittany, my co-host on this show, that kind of thing. And I might just and yeah, so excellent. All right. So let's go to the lesson then for today, uh, which is lesson 188 in A Course in Miracles. Course in Miracles is a very powerful text for me. And Brittany, again, we collaborate around this regularly using different lessons. The theme for this year is peace in A Course in Miracles. Last year it was vision. The year before it was light. These are all kind of related uh, themes. Um, and even though it's peace this year, this lesson 188 has a lot of light talk in it, right? So I'll jump right in and just read some snippets and comment, and then we'll go to the next segment after that, which is things from the headlines. So paragraph 1 says, "Why wait for heaven? Those who seek the light are merely covering their eyes. The light is in them now. Enlightenment is but a recognition, not a change at all. Light is not of the world, yet you who bear the light in you are alien here as well. The light came with you from your native home and stayed with you because it is your own. Excuse me. It is the only thing you bring with you from Him, capital H, Him, who is your source. It shines in you because it lights your home and leads you back to where it came from, and you are at home. So again, this sets the stage for so many different things that we could talk about. And one of my favorite topics is the story of the prodigal child, prodigal son, more traditionally, but it applies to all people, right? Where I mean, this is basically a reference to the fact that we can wander away from home, and this world is not our home, right? But we carry this light inside of us that we brought from our home. And in this actual story of the prodigal son in Luke, I think in the book of Luke, it is, um, it says that of the child who had, the adult child who had demanded his inheritance and left, that he fell on really bad times in this strange country, famine, and he wished he could eat what the pigs were eating. And even that, he was having a hard time getting. And then it says he came to his senses, right? And when he came to his senses, he was like, wait, why am I out here struggling? If even if I go back home and I don't have a claim on sonship and I'm not entitled to anything, my father will be able to give me food for a little bit of my labor, and it'll be way better than what's going on here. And I think I've read before that coming to his senses was that he felt the light of his home. It somehow triggered him. In any case, we know the story, right? He goes back home, and the father's like, "What? Yeah, you're my son. Even though you made the wrong move at that time, we've forgotten all of that. You're my son. You're reinstated. Bring the best clothes, the rings. We're going to have a party for you." Older brother didn't like that, right? But here you see all the subtle themes of the light that we carry with us, even into a strange land, this world. We're all prodigals here, and this light brings us back home. Now, elsewhere in the Course in Miracles, that Jesus has emphasized, and I believe that Jesus is the person who gave us this, right? Quick footnote, there are people who are like, oh, it's just a demon who is disguised as a Jesus voice, and it's here to lead you astray. And even if you have good miracles, they're all works of the devil. I'm like, okay, that's like carrying this whole thing so far. It's like, I mean, Jesus was characterized the same way the first time in the Bible, right? When he's healing people and curing them, the authorities were like, he's from the devil. He's a sinner. He breaks the Sabbath, he heals on the Sabbath, he does this and he does that. So I'm like, okay, we're kind of getting a repeat of some of that stuff. If it's a good result, it's a good result. I mean, you can't then come step in and change the goalposts and say it's a good result, but it comes from the devil. It's like, okay, that doesn't make any sense at the end of the day. Anyway, so a lot of us believe that it is Jesus who's teaching these things, and he's saying the prodigal son story is one of the most important stories for us to understand as human beings, right? And I think that the reason for that is because of the unequivocal, unconditional love of God demonstrated towards this child who has come back in that story, in that parable. Anything you want to comment on, and then just a few more quick points on this, and then we'll go to the headlines.
Yeah, I remember you saying that about the demon accusers before, and you were just saying that if that's true, then where's the lie? Where's the lie in the lessons that they're teaching? Everything kind of points to the same truths and gives credit to the same source. So where's the lie, basically? Yeah.
Right, right. Good
Mhm.
question. Good question. What part of it is the lie, right? If this is all
Exactly. Yeah.
praising God,
Hmm.
building up God's love for us,
Hmm.
building up our rights before
Hmm.
God, the same thing that I mean, I heard Joel Osteen teach this very thing 2 days
Hmm.
ago
Hmm.
on my radio during a drive. He was teaching the same thing. It was like
Hmm.
not from A Course in Miracles, from the Bible, but
Hmm.
and a lot of people don't like Joel Osteen either. They trash him
Hmm.
hardcore. And I'm like,
Yeah.
he's I don't know what he's human. We're all human. We all fail. We're all fallible. But I mean, he just basically was talking about God's incredible love for us, and all the good things that God has intended for every single human being. Nobody's left out, you know. So thank you for that. Thank you. So the next section of this that I made a note to talk about a little bit is that this light inside of us cannot be damaged. It cannot be diminished. Uh, it shines, and the purpose of it shining inside of us. This is the last part of this that I'll read for today. It says in paragraph 4, the shining in your mind reminds the world of what it has forgotten, and the world restores the memory to you as well. From you, salvation radiates with gifts beyond all measure, given and returned. This is the um, sort of the punchline of this paragraph to me, but we'll talk about a little bit. To you, the giver of the gift, does God Himself give thanks? Right? I'm like, okay, now God is thanking us for becoming aware of and enjoying this light that He gave us inside of us, because our awareness of this light then shines into the world and helps to remind other people that they also have this incredible gift of light within them, and that God is thanking us for doing this type of work, right? And I'm like, just the fact that God would thank us, and that Jesus is saying God thanks us. The whole thing is like, wow. I mean, God's generosity and kindness and graciousness is just overflowing, right? And there's one other lesson that I'm aware of at this point that does the same thing as lesson 78, where it says, let miracles replace all grievances. And you can talk about what your grievances are very nakedly and very openly and authentically. And then at the end, you just ask to see the light in the person you have grievances towards. And then it says towards the end of that lesson, God thanks us for being willing to do this process of seeing the light in the other person. It says heaven thanks us and the whole world thanks us. And I'm like, wow, that's a lot of good circulating vibes, you know? And so we're not left to our own devices in any of this. And last thing I'll say on this, and I'll check with you, Brittany, see if you have any thoughts before we go to headlines. Um, this idea that um, this lesson highlights here, the peace of God is shining in me now. It's almost like peace is a light. It's shining. You could say the light of God is shining in me. The truth of God is shining in me. The love of God, the power of God, the intelligence of God is shining in me. All these different attributes that give us strength and power and courage that come from higher power are each shining in us now. They're all different forms of light from the divine, right? So those are the main things I wanted to highlight for today. Any thoughts? Anything you want to say or comment on, and then we'll go to the next segment.
Um, no, I think yeah, I think you raised an interesting point how it says that the peace is shining in me rather than out of me. But the point of the lesson is that with that, then we become the light bearers as well, right?
Yes, totally.
Yes. Mhm.
That's exactly
The
it.
lighthouse brand. The lighthouse brand.
Say that one more time.
The lighthouse brand, essentially.
Yes, exactly.
Mhm.
Precisely. We talk about the lighthouse brand as
Mhm.
each one of us has this light in us. And there are people for whom the light in us will help them to come to
Mhm.
safe harbor rather
Mhm.
than to be shipwrecked.
Mhm.
This is what lighthouses do, right? And then they will also then become a lighthouse brand, sharing that light abroad. And that's part of God's plan, is for us to remember who we are and come back home,
Mhm.
like the prodigal, right? In all of
Mhm.
that. And so it all
So
makes logical
beautiful.
sense. It's exciting
Mhm.
to do, and then it's exciting when we're fellow travelers in the
Mhm.
process, where all this stuff is like, wow, we're it's making sense, you know?
Mhm.
Because when I
Mhm.
first used to read this book, I hated it. A Course in Miracles. I was like,
Mm.
there are no stories, there are no bows and arrows, there are no, you know, I want bows and arrows. That's what I'm used to from the Bible. Where are the people being crushed and killed here in this war and that? The Amalekites and the this and the that. It's like, it's just so like, what is this? Oh, I mean, and I didn't look at it after that initial in about 85 or so. I didn't look at it again for 10 years. And then 10 years later in 95, which is when now all of a sudden made sense to me. I was like, wow, So, so grateful for that. And thank you for your share there. And this idea of leading to the lighthouse brand. It's inside of us. The more we're in touch with it, the more it will shine outwardly, et cetera, et cetera. So, well, good. All right. So let's go to the headlines for today. I have two main headlines, and then I want to check with you to see if you have any headlines. And the point of this segment is mainly just to be able to take very controversial topics that can usually lead to arguments and debates and rivalries and different things like that. And to just hold these and bring them to the light, the divine light, and just say, this is a tangled web of pain and frustration and a nightmare. We're just bringing it to you for your peace to infuse it. There's no, I mean, we could debate that we're not shutting off a critical function and we can say, this is how I feel and that's how I feel. But that's more like where our grievances might be or where our whatever, and there's a way to do that, just honestly saying what they are, mostly to oneself, and not being so much on a soapbox about it. Again, all of that's fine, but the main purpose of this is just to bring painful situations to divine healing. That's the purpose. So the first, um, the first headline is the Venezuela issue with the Trump administration and the I don't know, arrest or capture or kidnapping or whatever you want to call it of Maduro, the president of the country, who's now in our country and is being tried here as a head of state for crimes that allegedly he's committed against, I guess, the U.S. or so anyway, bringing that whole thing and the oil grab and or the oil um, use or helping that country, whatever it is. I mean, there's so many different things going on there. So just bringing that whole thing to atonement or the light of God, the grace of God. And then there's other ramifications from that too. Is like they're talking about Greenland is going to be next. Are we just going to grab it? Is that right? I mean, they're making a plan to just take it. And all right. So, I mean, my point is okay. And then just bringing that to the divine and saying, and now I'm a bit biased, as you can tell from how I'm presenting this, but okay. I mean, uh, I didn't say we don't do any of that. I'm just saying it's not an argument or a debate, or I'm not on the soapbox. Mostly just bringing it to God. The second thing is the killing by ICE in Minneapolis of Renee Good. I think her name is 37-year-old mother of three, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. So I mean, that's just really, there's always things on both sides. It's like Charlie Kirk from back in the day. I'm not saying they're the same, but I'm just saying that these killings of young people um, trigger a lot of different reactions from the left and the right and so on. So those are the headlines. Brittany, anything for you or anything you want to say about any of those? Or Mhm.
Yeah, I feel like with both of those headlines, it's just really exhausting how there's like an instant pressure to kind of put yourself on a side, and especially politically, because the first one is more political, of course, geopolitics, but the second one, yeah, someone died, so it doesn't have to be politicized right away. And I felt the same about Charlie Kirk. And yeah, it's just sad that it's a good practice to kind of remove yourself from the politics of everything and think, okay, people have been suffering in Venezuela for a long time, so what do they have to say about it? Those kinds of questions, and that can help you externalize the us versus them thinking and just see it from the prism of viewpoints that exist. Um, and yeah, another highlight that I saw in my news cycle was that a famous influencer couple is getting divorced because of infidelity. And it's just one of those couples that they look like the picture perfect couple, like everybody loved them. Their names are Christy, Sarah, and Desmond Scott.
Okay.
And they're a black couple, and TMZ broke the news that they were getting divorced, and they've been together since they were 14, 12 years married.
Wow.
And so it was just like people were thinking, wow, if they don't have it together, then how does anyone have hope? It's just another one of those stories.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Thank you for that. I
Mhm,
wasn't aware of that. I love it. I love the way we
mhm,
stay informed too in our
mhm,
news cycles about the different things that catch our attention. It
mhm.
just as a quick sidebar, it reminds me a lot of on the internet when Bill Gates and his wife
Yeah.
uh, got
Well, yeah.
divorced.
Mhm. Melinda.
People were,
Mhm.
oh, Melinda,
Oh,
yeah, thank
yeah.
you.
Mhm.
I was searching for the name. You could tell. People were like, "Oh, there's no hope for us mere mortals." I mean, he had all the
Mhm.
money in the world,
Yeah.
and it still didn't work to cover the sins or whatever the issues were, not taking sides or anything like that. And so a lot of guys were like, "Yeah, look, you see, it's like," or Jeff Bezos went through the same thing too, prior to getting
Yeah.
remarried. It's like, it's just interesting how where people go with these things. It's like, wow, is there hope for the rest of us if it just always like just crashes and burns somehow,
Yeah.
regardless, So thanks for bringing that up. And we're bringing all these needs, desires, concerns, fears. They're all part of what we just bring to
Mhm.
the divine light for
Mhm.
clarification, healing, mending, and so on.
Mhm.
And to your point earlier, it's like I just love how we're in sync with this, where we don't get terribly political about it,
Mhm.
and we're always stepping out from a different perspective about really mostly just healing
Mhm.
at the root of it, right? Miracle mindset healing. That's application of all the things, principles we're talking about to difficult situations we see in the world. So the only other thing I wanted to say is that for me, this part has been important to develop and evolve because I feel as though in some of the political aspects of my work, where I've worked with people at the top of the political process, at the top of the political game. Can't say anything about them, of course, because of client confidentiality. But I mean, people who are, I say, in the White House, if you like, at the part of the A team that's running things, had the privilege to work with people like that. It's like that. This is what they're thinking about. This is what their daily work is about, right? So it's like it's a guilty pleasure professionally for me to say, oh, and again, I don't mean to embellish or exaggerate. It's not the mainstay of my work. It's been a part of it, but just to be respectful of leaders and what they're dealing with in the news cycle too. And I always say to them, last thing I'll say before we move on, I always say to them, it feels like when I listen to the news, I'm eating like a meal that's been microwaved as leftovers 10 times over. It's just it's gone through so many reworkings and cookings and so when I'm talking to a client who's at the front lines, I say, look, I know it's about you, and we're going to talk about what you want to talk about, whatever it is, in terms of your leadership process, personal and professional. But I'm sitting here at the edge of my seat because with you, I have a front row seat because you have a front row seat. So anything you want to tell me about what happened in the news, I'm open to. And we've had some amazing conversations. Anyway, so just a little bit of a humble brag about this is connected to clients too. So all right. Any thoughts, anything you want to say? And then we're going to go to the last of parts of the call, which is your domain. You're good at this, the kind of the application, the practice. The practice part actually is just being mindful of everything we talked about. You could sum everything up. I have the notes on the practice part, but over to you.
All right, thanks, Dave. Yeah, so for this one, it was pretty straightforward, as you said from the get-go, and just the very first line of this lesson says, "Why wait for heaven?" So I really like that because a lot of us, when we are so focused in our movie, in our perceived reality here in this world, it's easy to think, "Oh, one day we're gonna." Maybe transition and we're going to be in a better place, but we actually have the capability to access that better place here and now today by remembering just where we come from and that we are that prodigal child that can always return home to our creator and tap into that inside. So I would say that's the application for today is just to come home today, right where you are, right in this moment. You don't have to do anything special. And that's really powerful that you can always do that.
Love it. I totally co-sign that. Thank you for that.
Mhm.
I'll carry that as a reminder to just turn homeward
Exactly.
in right in the moment. There isn't
Mhm.
some big complicated thing that has to happen. It's just accepting and embracing. Yeah,
Exactly. And that
thank
was
you for
that
that.
enlightenment definition it gave as well. Enlightenment is it's not learning something new, it's remembering
It
what we
is
already knew. So, mhm,
beautiful.
mhm.
Excellent, Brittany. Thank you for that.
Thank you. Mhm.
Excellent. Excellent. Excellent.
And
Excellent.
thanks
So
for breaking down this lesson today. It's been a pleasure, and
yeah,
sharing your heart story again. So inspiring, so amazing.
thank you. Thank you for creating a safe space for us to do what we do here, Brittany. I love it. And what a wonderful start to this year, 2020, the
Mhm,
calendar year, even though this is the third call
mhm,
in with regard to the 12 that we do. We always start in November of the previous year, but just a wonderful way to start the calendar year. And so
mhm.
thank you for everything. And I'll keep you in my prayers continuing for you and your husband and your baby soon to
Thank you.
arrive. And just thrilled to know that our family is expanding.
Mhm,
Our circle is expanding. It's just amazing. It's so miraculous in so many ways.
mhm.
You're manifesting your best life that
Yeah,
wanted,
yeah. I've wanted this for a while. Yeah.
I know, and I'm so ecstatic for you that it
Thank
is
you.
just unfolding so beautifully.
Mhm.
So,
And
uh,
miraculously. Mhm.
yeah, yeah. Well, great.
Yep.
Okay, so I will meet you in this space again for the next month's, which will be
Mhm.
February's
Alright.
call. And again, to all of our listeners and viewers and people who support us with so many kind comments and gracious feedback about it, whether in text messages or the comments. Again, not exaggerating or embellishing, but there's a kind of a growing group of people who are very committed to watching and small but committed, small group but committed. So thank you all so much. Thank you, Brittany, and I'll see you next time.
Alright, I'll see you next time, Dave. Thank you.
Thank you as
Bye.
well.
Bye, everyone.
Bye.